بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام وكفى بها نعمة. الحمد لله على منة الولاية وكفى بها منة. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا النبي المؤيد والرسول المسدد والمصطفى الأمجد والمحمود الأحمد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين سفن النجاة الأعلام من ركب سفينتهم نجا ومن تخلف عنها هلك وغرق. ثم أما بعد. My respected elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To continue where I've left from yesterday, when we were talking about the importance of respecting the sanctity of a mu'min and the honor of a mu'min, we spoke about the one particular hadith that Imam al-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi highlighted when he was looking at the holy Kaaba and said to his companions, do you see any sanctity for this house? And they said, yes, obviously it has a lot of sanctity and respect. He said, the sanctity of a mu'min in the eyes of Allah is more worthy than the Kaaba itself. Yani basically what the Imam is trying to say in a nutshell, that a believer is more worth in the eyes of Allah than his own house. Why? And we stated that yesterday is because Allah had chosen you as a human being to be his vicegerent. Khalifatullahi fi ard, to be God's representative on earth. And I also said yesterday, if humanity had derailed or has derailed from its proper course in life, then we should not blame the plan. The problem is with the people executing the plan, which means us. We have not comprehended fully what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, and that's when we need to actually begin the process of re-evaluating ourselves in life. Every person must be in a position to re-evaluate himself, to see what he is doing. No wonder why when we examine the Quranic text, for example, we find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduces in a number of positions in the Quran or places in the Quran something that talks about your soul and the stages of your soul. We have, for example, an-nafsul ammaratu bis-su', the nafs that always encourages its owner to do bad. That's one type of a soul. Sometimes you look at a person and you say, this guy is devilish. For some reason, it reminds you of the devil. Why? Because his nafs is always calling on him to do bad. No matter what he does, he's just like that. Having said that, however, it does not mean that God created him like that. Because God does not create on the basis of injustice or injustice. He creates everyone on the basis of justice. And everyone that is created what? Like a clean, blank sheet of paper. Nothing is there. Nothing. No good and no bad at the same time. So the onus becomes on the person himself to begin filling in that particular clean slate or sheet. And how wonderful it would be if that slate or blanket sheet that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in the beginning, which represents your inner soul, comes back or goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as clean as it was created. And the cleanliness and the purity I'm talking about here is not sit there and do nothing and go back as blank as you were. No, meaning go back as beautiful as Allah wants you on the basis of your good actions. On the basis of your good action. That is why we are reminded, for example, when someone goes to his qabr, to his grave, we are told by the riwayat of our leaders, Ahlul Bayt salamullahi alayhim, that a person, you know, your salawat sometimes, I don't know, they are, don't worry about the speaker when it comes to Ahlul Bayt. They have priority over any speaker. So if I mention them, I don't pause, make me pause. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we say what? We say that when a person goes into his grave, it is one of two things. He will have company. He will have company. And that company comes in the shape of a person. To the extent that the person who is laid in his grave will be mesmerized at the sight of that person if he's done good. And that good-looking person will come and say, or to the deceased, he will approach the deceased, and the deceased will be resurrected in his grave, and they will communicate. The deceased person will look towards that person and say, who are you? And what are you doing here in my grave? This is my sanctuary. He says, أَنَا عَمَلُكَ الصَّالِحِ. I am your good deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has transformed me in the shape of a good person to keep you company till the day of judgment. Till the day. And it says in the riwayah that after that, the deceased sees no harm in his grave at all. And a fragrance from heaven will enter his grave, and he will be given the opportunity to see his position in Jannah. Okay? To the extent that this mu'min will say, Ya Allah, hasten the day of judgment. Hasten the day. If this is what I get in my grave, imagine what I'm going to get in Jannah. So you would want to hasten. So doing good is the basis of our creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed us in this earth to do good, not to do anything else. That is the basis of our creation. Part and parcel of doing good is the preservation of the sanctity of a mu'min. To that extent, the preservation. You know, it is stated that at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a man